The tensions over scarce resources and limited opportunities in South Africa will only subside if the country shifts from a hosting approach to an empowerment approach. Now, these are the words of Jurol Loemba, a multi-award winning social entrepreneur, activist, speaker, and artist. The comments come on the back of tensions in South Africa regarding foreigners accessing healthcare in the country. Jurol now joins us on the line to elaborate further. Jurol, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on Africa Update.
Good afternoon, Lulu. It's a pleasure to be among you guys, and hi to all the listeners.
Now, Jurol, you took to Facebook with a message to foreigners and South Africans alike. Why did you decide to do that now?
I decided to do that because, to be frank with you, I've actually been sharing this message for a while. But last week, I actually decided to share it on social media, okay, based on all the current tensions that were happening. So I actually decided to be able to draw some, to put some light on this issue and educate mainly foreigners on the difference between xenophobia and patriotism, and also proposing solutions in order to deal with all these immigration influx and tensions.
Now, let's talk about the shifting from a hosting approach to an empowerment approach. Talk to us about that. Unpack it for us.
All right. That's perfect. I actually call it the beaver and African parrot strategy. That's actually a strategy that I've actually put in place as an activist. For those of you who actually know, at the moment when we're dealing with the UN and every program that is related to displaced people, refugees, everything is based on hosting and inclusion, all right? But there is nothing actually focused on empowering the people in order to be able to change the countries of origin. And this lack of empowerment program is actually leading to all the tensions that we are having. And it's not just in South Africa. The same situation is happening in the UK, in France, in Morocco. And if we have to come back to Africa, just to be specific, South Africa and Morocco are among the few countries in Africa that we can call as progress nations, developed nations, right, compared to other African nations. So it's actually a blessing, all right, as a nation to be developed, but at the same time, it can become a curse. That's what I call the oasis curse. Just like in the wilderness, when there's no water, everybody will rush to the closest oasis in order to get water, food, and rest. And that's the current situation of South Africa and Morocco. All the nations around Africa are leaving the country due to economic pressure, political oppressions. They come to South Africa, all right? That's the hosting plan. That's great. Inclusion, wonderful. But after a certain period, people will start feeling the tensions on the cultural level, on the resources level, and opportunity level. So the solution in order to resolve this issue is to put in place, the South African government needs to work with the UN, the Human Rights Commission, in order to put in place a program that is going to locate the reasons why each group has decided to leave the country, and put in place an empowerment program in order to allow these people, while they're being hosted in South Africa, to learn how to change things in their own countries. All right, just like the beaver and the African parrot. The beaver is known for changing the course of a river. So it creates new paths of water into dry area. So that will allow the animals on the other side of the river to be able to blossom and live peacefully without crossing on the other side of the river, leading to tensions with other animals. So as you can see, animals are even giving us lessons on how to deal with immigration influx. And it's the same issue. The same thing can be said about the African gray parrot. It is actually known after eating a fruit, the African parrot will fly and go on places where there is no land, where there's no trees and fruits and so forth. It will start dropping the seeds in these areas in order to allow the area that was dry to start producing fruit and give life and allow animals in that area to be able to live. So that's exactly what the beaver and African parent strategy is all about. We need to shift from hosting to empowering refugees. When a refugee comes to South Africa, a foreigner, people need to locate the reason. Are you coming here because of economic pressure in your country? All right, it has to be allocated into a specific group. Are you coming because of injustice in your country? They need to be trained on how to fight injustice in the country, just like South Africa did during apartheid. We in my country, Congo Brazzaville, right? We gave a huge province to Namibian and South African who fled due to the apartheid tensions, right? So they were given this province, they were hosted, they were given free healthcare and all the good stuff. But the South Africans and the Namibians were focused on actually changing things in their own countries. So they were given the resources to be able to fight the injustice in order to change the nation. And once that goal was achieved, most of the South Africans living in my country returned to South Africa in order to live their dream in the homeland, in order to build the country.
Now, Jurol, you know, what you are speaking about is very pertinent, especially now, when we look at some foreign leaders who are in the country from different countries who actually say they've built a home in South Africa. They're not looking to go back to re-establish themselves and rebuild their own countries. In that case, what happens?
Okay, in that case, that's what I call the purpose law, the law of purpose, right? Whether we like it or not, like in America, we have people like Arnold Schwarzenegger, who's actually from Australia and decided to go to America and he became a governor there. Good for him. That was his purpose. We have people like Trevor Noah, who decided to go to America to reach a higher level on his regarding his purpose. Today is big, is a blessing, and he's a global brand for South Africa. But now he's thinking about coming back. So we have people, all right, whether you like it or not, their destinies are meant to be fulfilled in a foreign land, either for a moment or for good. But that's not the case for all the refugees. So we are talking about maybe 5 to 10% of people that are meant to fulfill their purpose elsewhere or have to work overseas due to a job deployment and so forth. But 80 to 90% of people in South Africa, they came in South Africa simply because of the lack of opportunities in the countries, economic tension, oppression from the leaders. I will give you the example of Congo Brazzaville. Right now, the government sent a letter to the government of South Africa telling them that there is now peace in Congo Brazzaville, there is no war, but it is actually a lie. As I'm talking to you right now, we've been running several campaigns in order to stop and change the regime in Congo Brazzaville because they oppress the students. They have no boundary. The people are not paid. Can you imagine that? Like you're working for SABC and you're not paid for 1 year. This is what's happening in Congo, yet the country is full of wealth. Their children are living like kings. There is no healthcare system. The president and the government members, whenever they have a mere headache, they travel to France and overseas in order to be treated, while the people on the ground have no access to healthcare. So what's going to be the only survival instinct? The people are going to try to look for the closest oasis, leading them to Morocco, South Africa, and some of them actually managed to go to Europe and America. So that's the reason why I also talk about the inter-nation accountability channel that needs to be put in place between the diplomats, okay, of South Africa and Congo Brazzaville. The opposition leaders as well needs in the political parties. In the opposition, they need to be involved in the AU, African Union, because at the moment, African Union is nothing else but a gang of presidents protecting each other. So we need more opposition leaders from the DA, from EFF, from PA, all these people, they need to be involved into the AU in order to be able to create a balance in terms of opinion and the way things are run. And they will be able to address these issues. And activists also should be involved in that process to create that inter-nation accountability so that Africa can be able to take the phone and say, hey, Congo Brazzaville, we have a lot of people from your country that are coming here. We don't mind hosting them, but these are the issues. They're complaining about oppression, freedom of expression. But here in South Africa, we have freedom of expression. And as African countries, based on the chart, the human rights chart that South Africa signed, that Congo Brazzaville signed, they have the duty to hold each other accountable. So the government of South Africa, the Minister of Immigration should be able to call the Minister of Immigration in Congo Brazzaville and tell them, this is the issue that we've noticed. And what is happening in your country is not acceptable. You need to take care of your people. Because at the end of the day, when you don't do your job, all the African nations are going to pay the cost. And we will not be able to take care of our own people. So that's what I call the International Accountability Channel. That's another program that needs to be put in place in order to allow reports on exchange of reports to see exactly what's happening in these countries, what is causing the people to leave, and address these matters with the presidents, the government, and all the stakeholders involved.
And very quickly, just in wrapping up, Jurol, what sort of response are you getting on all the social media platforms, especially Facebook?
Yeah, I'm actually getting a lot of response, including on TikTok as well. Okay, and we have a lot of. We are also planning actually on having a meeting with Oma first in order to address these issues, because I'm also a member of Amnesty International, and I think that this is something that needs to be taken seriously if we want this immigration influx and the tensions related to scarce resources to end. Because closing the borders, I can tell you right now, you can close the borders as you want. When someone wants to survive, they will find a way to come in. So the solution is to use the beaver and African parrot strategy. Empower the refugees, empower the people so that they may be able to address injustice in the country, economic solution. If there is drought, they don't have water. Teach them how to create wells, how to create water solutions, so that they may be able to go back in the country and be prosperous in their homeland.
Jurol, thank you so much for joining us on Africa Update.
It was a pleasure.
That's Jurol Loemba, a multi-award winning social entrepreneur, activist, speaker and artist, joining us on the line.